Hey guys, this is the Unveil podcast with DJ Wavy.
Yo, this is DJ Wavy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Unveil podcast. It's your boy DJ Wavy, of course, and on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about domestic violence with sought-after communication strategist and youth leader in Jamaica, Mr. Rajae Danvers. Welcome to you, sir.
Great to be here, man.
You know, I got to fancy your name up, Mr. Rajae Danvers, communication strategist.
Yes.
So as I said, we're going to be talking about domestic violence today, right? But just before we get into that, let's look at some of the things that's been happening in the Caribbean. Number one, and I'm sure all of you guys would have heard this by now, but a volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines erupted a few weeks back. And, you know, to this day, Danvers is leaving tons of ash in the country. As a matter of fact, I read a report this morning that some places in Grenada, in St. Vincent, is unrecognizable.
Wow.
Right? So, yeah, we got to keep those guys in our prayers. If you guys could see, we have a nice little sign here. Prayers for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we're going to keep those guys in our prayers as we go throughout the rest of this year.
This episode was brought to you by Hot Rest Designs, inspiring the fashionable you.
Mr. Danvers, did you know that there are 19 live volcanoes in the Eastern Caribbean?
Well, what I want to know if he's in Jamaica.
Well, I was on Twitter last night.
Wow.
And somebody mentioned something about Blue Lagoon, but I didn't do any research. Please don't quote me on this, folks. I didn't do any research, okay?
Blue Lagoon in Jamaica.
Yeah. No, they said Blue Lagoon, you know, so.
So it was a volcano.
I don't know. You would have to tell me.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm in communications, not geography.
All right, we all. I hope that's not the case because I don't think we could take a volcano here in Jamaica. The place too hot already.
Any's in the Bahamas or Guyana?
No, I don't think any volcanoes are in the Bahamas or Guyana, but some other islands. You know, you guys could check that out just to see what those islands are. So we're gonna keep those islands in our prayers. I'm sure they're not prepared, right? So let's keep those islands and those countries in our prayers. All right. So, Mr. Danvers, before we get into today's interview, we're gonna do a quick "Never Have I Ever."
Oh,
and
right.
I'm excited to see your answers here because I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna win this one.
All right, fine. Let's see.
Number one.
Yes.
Never have I ever traveled to another Caribbean country.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah, bro? Did you know that I was 9 years old when I first stepped on a plane? It's crazy, man. But yeah, I did that as well.
9. What? What age?
Yeah, which country?
It's my first time flying. Our countries, I've been to a lot. I've been to Belize. I've been to the UK. I've been to Trinidad and Tobago. I've been to Guyana. I've been to Panama.
Rich man.
I'm going to offer tree.
I guess that comes with being a communication strategist.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that part.
Second, have you ever been in a tree house?
No.
I think I've been in a tree house, one that I made myself when I was young. Did you travel all the parishes in Jamaica? This is very interesting.
Yeah, man, every single one? Every single parish.
I think you're one of the few Jamaicans I've met that actually traveled to all of the parishes. So I must say congratulations to you, sir.
Yeah, man, take well my gas money too.
Have you ever been camping? Well, outside of today, of course. You don't look like a camper. You don't look like a trooper, bro.
No, I wouldn't say a trooper, but I mean, I've been to, outside events.
For y'all that don't know, Danvers cussed me off just before we started shooting because I wore shorts to the set. I think I'm dressed for the part. What do you guys think?
Hey, no. I wanted him to tell me what to because I hear it's outside. I didn't know it was in a forest.
Oh, come on. I mean, this guy got on suede Clarks, bro. Some nicely plaited pants. What is this?
This is Unveil podcast.
I understand.
Top tier.
Never have I ever. Have you ever done a bush cook? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, man, Bridget, me a Jamaican, man.
So what does that mean? does it mean, am I to draw the conclusion that Jamaicans love to cook in the bush?
No, you must draw the conclusion that whenever we have excursions, But we just say you do with curry chicken and we banana, we boil dumpling and thing.
Well, we got a nice little fire going back here.
Yeah.
So I hope you brought the meats and the ground provision. Maybe you could have a meal.
Yeah, something can go on this.
Final one for the day. Never have I ever bathed outside or in the rain. Let me hear your thoughts. Communication strategist.
Again, I'm a Jamaican, and I was from humble beginnings. So bathing out the door was a common thing. Every morning for school. Every morning for school.
What are you saying to me?
Yeah, man.
Well, you seem like somebody that came from humble beginnings, so I can't really pressure you on that one. All right, so let's get into
But you haven't answered.
Well, you know,
You're rich.
I'm a Guyanese, the rich. Let me tell you all something.
Inside bathroom, tub.
Inside bathroom was a luxury.
Jacuzzi.
Every Guyanese know this. Inside bathroom was a luxury.
Not the Mings.
As
Not
a
the
matter
Mings
of
from
fact,
Mucka, though.
Ming was from Mucka. They just get road. What are you talking about? Huh? To this day.
Okay,
I
fine.
used to use outhouse, bro. Bathe outside, bathe in the trench, bathe in the canal.
Yes, and the producer over there saying, I can't relate.
Some people gonna say I'm lying because I look nice and posh now.
Okay, look nice and posh.
But
with an
you know,
expensive
humble
watch in your
beginning.
hand.
Well, this is mediocre. Mediocre. But yeah, man. Well, it looks like, I think, how much you get? You get 1, 2, 3.
I won. I won, Tim.
No, bro, you can't beat me, bro.
Bro, I won.
I
Jesus.
don't think so. But we let you guys decide. So let's get into the interview. Today we're gonna be talking about domestic violence.
Right.
And upon doing some research, I have found that here in Jamaica, you guys are known for femicide, which is the violence against women.
Killing women, right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in a study done about a year ago, Jamaica came number 2 in the world.
Number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's disgusting. It's disgusting that our men are using women who are to be our nurturers, our caregivers, our helpmeet in society as preys, hunting them, killing them as if there is nothing. For us to reach number 2 in the world says a lot about our society. And I just think there's no other word to describe it than disgusting.
Yeah, I could definitely agree. That's something that honestly shocked me. Violence against women. Maybe violence in general, I would have expected to see
Right.
Jamaica somewhere in the top 10. But violence, no disrespect, bro. Come on.
I
Let's
understand.
call
None
a spade
taken.
a spade,
None
guys.
taken.
Right? But the violence against women, it really did catch me off guard. So why do you think it might be easy for someone to hurt their spouse or, partner in something that's supposed to be a loving relationship?
I think we have to look back from a historical perspective. We have to look back from whence we came, the plantation system. Remember that the masters, the slave masters, would rape the women in front of the men as a psychological control that I am stronger than you, you can do nothing about it. No, that would have trained the man that empowering themselves over a woman, taking sexual advantage, making sexual advances to a woman with her not being able to overcome is a thing. So the man would have learned that. The black man would have learned that. 1. The black man would have learned that. 2. That the woman's purpose is just to serve. As if the woman has no other role in society. And that's something that would have been learned from the plantation system locally, that is. We're not talking about the patriarchal system of the Middle East, etc., etc. We're talking about locally. So the women were given the softer jobs, per se, on the plantation. They were in the house as domestic slaves. They were the caregivers to the slave master's children. And so the man psychologically undervalues the woman from then. And it has been a perennial thing that is etched in the DNA of our people.
What are some of the things that you see that proves that statement? How men still to this day sort of hold women at a lower standard of value.
Well, I'm not sure how this will be taken, but my honest opinion is we glorify songs that glamorize and objectify women. So we treat women as an object right? We how we sing our songs about them, says a lot. How we speak to women, you know, I came up learning, do not put your hands on women, don't hit women, don't, but I've seen in our society where we have sought to just treat women like a subset, right? A subset. We want to shut them up when they're speaking. When they're outspoken, we say they're loud and disgusting. When they want to make their point known, we say they're enough. They are annoying, they're nagging. When they're trying to get their point across, we shut them down. And I think we do that sometimes as men, even not necessarily knowing. And I really don't think it's something that's right at all.
Wow. Well, I could definitely agree with that. But as you mentioned songs, do you think that the dancehall culture here in Jamaica, do you think that it has a lot to do with the way women not aren't just being treated, but the way that they accept being treated?
All right. What is a fact? That's a very good question, Javon. What is a fact is that music does have a neurological element to it. I did a study some time ago with classical music and its impact on learning, and through that thesis study I did, I recognized that other music have been proven to have effects. So it is not just directed to gender-based violence or violence against women that the music has an impact. But I think we are somewhat hypocritical in our culture to have a position as if though music does not aid and abet in violence, and that music doesn't aid and abet specifically to violence against women.
Oh, all right. That's wonderful. I hope you all bring your pens for today's episode because we talk about some deep stuff right now. So, Mr. Danvers, about a week ago on Topics on the Hill, president of the People's National Party Youth Organization, I think you might be familiar with said person, Crystal Tomlinson, said that the people of Jamaica are to be blamed for the misogynistic, what a big word, misogynistic, bigot, and violent culture currently blooming in the country, as she chimed in on a conversation focused on the upsurge of violent crimes against women and children in Jamaica. What do you think about this?
I agree with her 100%. But my perspective, as I had said earlier, misogyny would have started on the plantation, in my opinion, and has been perennially cultured to be okay. But let's put some perspective from it from a political perspective or an economical perspective. Firstly, women have never had equity when it comes on to payment for the same job. As simple as that thing may sound to you, there's a woman employed to Unveil Caribbean podcast as host, right? There's a man employed as host. The man is paid $12, woman is paid $10 simply because she's a woman. And it is something that is etched, as I said, with the DNA. I don't know why. It may in fact mean, Javon, that the woman does more work, put in more effort. Yeah? Is a better host. She gets 10, you get 12. Now, so economically and politically, the People's National Party, if I recall clearly, would have brought the action or the policy position of equal pay for women. Equal pay for equal work. As a matter of fact, we would have reared the culture as well of, certainly from a political perspective, from a leadership perspective, that women don't belong in boardrooms. Women don't belong at the top of organizations because they're too emotional. They can't lead. I think that is something that is wrong, and I reject it 100%. I think our future is dependent upon equity. Our future is dependent upon equal status. Our future is dependent upon being reasonable and being fair. Equity when it comes down to our agenda.
Across the board. Well, I could definitely agree with that, but I think it depends on. To me, it depends on the job, right? For example, I use this scenario often when this conversation comes up. as it relates to male and female sports, right? Male sports generates way more money from advertising and so on than female sports. So when a male athlete is being paid 75 million per year, as opposed to a female athlete being paid a couple 100,000, in my opinion, I think that that's fair because the male athlete would bring in way more money to the sport than the female.
But you're helping Crystal's statement that we have been cultured to believe that it is a culture rearing process that would have caused that mindset to mature in society today. So it's not a phenomena why it's happening now. It's a culture. It's to say, well, man run fast, so man deserve money. But what happened to the woman? What happened to Shelley and Fraser, who is the fastest woman in the world, as the man who's the fastest man in the world? It just so happened nobody's saying that. So what if the day comes when the female becomes faster than the man?
Well, I think that will be a boy. That'll be something well serious. I think they're gonna check that person for some kind of but
Semenya,
yeah.
you know Semenya. You remember Semenya me?
Oh boy, but yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree that we've been cultured to think this way, and it's obviously still affecting us greatly.
Right.
Now I know you're a politics man, so I had to put a few political questions in there. Do you think it's not going to be anything that going to ruin your rep or anything like that? Do you think the Jamaican government is doing enough to handle cases of domestic violence right now? Because I know you saw the amount of domestic violence cases, especially since COVID-19. A lot of persons are forced to stay in their homes. People are unhappy. And the fact that they can't go out to fet or, guys can't go and play ball as much as they can't play ball as much as they would want, tension in the home and all that. What do you think?
Great question. A heavy question. My perspective, and I have to think a little. Minister Grange, I have a whole lot of respect for Minister Babsy Grange. Great woman, great heart. I want to put this out there first, though. It is not a matter of domestic violence having an upsurge. It's a matter that it is now being recorded. We have to know that. A very, very prolific notation on that point. Another thing, the fact that we're seeing it now obviously has generated a national conversation. The government of the day has the prerogative to do everything in its power to send a deliberate message. In Jamaica, we would have seen a video being circulated with allegedly with a member of parliament beating a woman in the most inhumane way, as if though it's an animal, using a stool to reinforce his hurt on the woman. This person is a member of the ruling government. The government had the opportunity from the top brass to send a signal, to ask him to recluse himself from the government, not from parliament, from the government, to ask for his retirement. The Prime Minister has that local stand-by. And I would have think, and it is upsetting to understand that even with the legalities of the matter, even if it ought to be challenged in the courts, I think the Prime Minister had the opportunity to ask for the resignation, to send a signal that from the top brass of government, we do not tolerate gender-based violence, and specifically violence against women. Because I would have wanted the Prime Minister to say, I will not sit with this member in the House, because I must send a clear message to the people of Jamaica that from the top brass of leadership, we do not appreciate it, we reject it, it is disgusting, we will not tolerate it, we're going to stamp it out, we reject it. That's my position.
Oh, wow. Very stern position to hold. Disclaimer, folks, here at Unveil, we aren't political people. As a matter of fact, the owners of this podcast aren't even Jamaicans, okay? So please do not draw any conclusions about our political stance, all right? But that was just Mr. Danvers' take on it. So as we close, Mr. Danvers, how do I know when to intervene if I notice signs of domestic violence in either my female or in this day and age, my male friend? How do I intervene?
Well, great question, but I want to also be fair because there's also a flip to the conversation, and it would be remiss of me if I don't mention it. We don't live in a world, or we don't have a culture where it's only men who are violating women. We have women who violate men. And those men, they are men who are suffering. They are men who can't speak up. They are men who can't talk too loud at them household, or else them get boxed in them face. They are men who women have secret for them. And them can't, who's being violated, who are being mentally abused. There are women who would have cultured men because of whatever reason for that man. God bless his soul. But there are men who are hurting, who are being sexually abused by women. There are men out there who are being hurt physically. There are men out there who are suffering mentally from the hands and the will of women. So we can't be hypocritical in our approach. And it's something that, I'm not even going to go there. But we ought to recognize that there are men who are also suffering from that said violence. Now, to answer your question, Tim, we ought to create avenues. We ought to create avenues, one, for people to feel free to talk about gender-based violence. We ought to have avenues that we can use for rehabilitation of people who are going through that said process. And we also ought to have avenues of clear restorative justice and justice overall. Because justice is a lack of justice why women shut up. I have had a friend, Tim, and I have to tell you this before I go, who said to me that a man will box and kick her down, and she one time him lick her down so till she got to hospital. Pardon my patois for the Caribbean folks who may not be able to understand. Let me fix it. So she would have been, she was abused, and by her boyfriend, and she said she went to the police station, and they took a report, did nothing. She went the second time, took a report, did nothing. The third time, they said that they would visit the home. She ended up in the hospital. She was almost killed by the man. That's the structure we have in our country. So women shy away from it. Another thing is that we don't have the safe space for the woman to leave the house with the children. My grandmother, who I love dearly, I often speak of, had to flee from the house with her children. Well, I don't think my aunts, uncles, my father perhaps, to escape violence, to escape that she not go jail herself. But there was no, and luckily my grandmother had a safe space, which was her mother yard. But many women don't have an option. So there's no clear space to say, when I do this is, if I leave, this is where I can go. There's a shelter I can clock into, or there's a process where I can have a restraining order. It sickens me that our culture don't facilitate these simple courses of justice. It sickens me, and I'm annoyed by it, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely
Sorry
true.
to be so strong.
No,
on podcast and on Unveil.
I mean, it's necessary. I found it shocking that roughly 45% of the women in the Caribbean have experienced domestic violence, right? And one of the reasons that this number continues to increase, according to studies, is the fact that, as you clearly mentioned, they have nowhere to go, and it's something that they themselves can feel ashamed about talking about, because they experience it, right? Imagine your family accept this nice man. He come and ask for your hand in marriage. He give you his dowry. He give you all his goat and thing. And then you come and find out this man beating you in your house. How are you gonna go to your father and say,
it's hard. It's hard, especially it is so hard. But I want to encourage any woman. I want to encourage any woman who is going through violence. I wish Terrence should just put the camera on me right now. Yeah, I want to encourage any woman who is going through violence, who is being beaten, who's being chained mentally, who's being who's just being controlled, right? And any man who's experienced the same thing, to speak to someone, get help. There's a better place than that, Javon. There's a better place for you to be. There is liberty, not just for yourself, but for those who will come after you. Your voice will make a difference. So speak up. It hurts, not him. To build a home with a man or a woman for 15, 30 years and to be going through batter bruising just to keep up face. Your dignity depends on it.
Definitely true. Well, guys, we've come to the end of our episode. We've come to the end of our episode. Thank you, Mr. Danvers, for being with us and sharing with us so passionately about domestic violence against women. And like you said, guys, I just want anyone going through this kind of thing to reach out. Reach out to somebody, just talk to somebody. That can actually start the process of helping you to get out of the situation. All right. Until next week, guys, this has been Unveil on the Road. Next week we're gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna pack up my little tent here, put all my stands up, maybe put my fire somewhere else, and we're gonna see where we end up next week. So you guys make sure stay tuned, keep it locked right here. It's been DJ Wavy. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey guys, if you liked that episode, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell to stay updated.